him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Smack-a-magab, it is time for the only news that matters. And yesterday I was cruising the web, and then I saw Motley Crue interviewed by Eddie Trunk this past Monday or Tuesday. And I said to myself, because I don't listen to Eddie Trunk, because he's a dumbass hypocrite, and he proved it on this interview, because I couldn't help but clicking on it thinking, all right, Eddie Trunk, the guy that's always running around saying how he hates bands using tracks, and he tells it as it is, and this and that. Well, he didn't mention tracks not once during the whole interview. No, it was a lathering ass, it was incredible how much, he spent a lot of the interview talking about how great Dogs of War is now. In Eddie's defense, yeah, he may like it, okay, I'll give him that. He likes it, so he's glowing about it. Because actually, there are people out there that like it. Not many. When I did my review, there were very little people that said they liked it. But yeah, there were many, and maybe Eddie Trunk is one of them that likes the track. Okay, but man, he spent way too much time on that. Didn't mention tracks at all. This is a guy that's so pride, I just saw the new Sebastian Bach video, and he does a cameo in the beginning, and he's talking about, these stupid bands with tracks. Oh boy, he has no problem bashing bands that use tracks unless they're in front of him. I said it a million times. Eddie Trunk is a hypocrite when he says stuff like, oh, I tell it as it is, I have no filter. That's bullshit. The only time he tells it as it is and he has no filter is when he talks about people that won't talk to him. He bashed Eddie Van Halen a lot, when, he was Team Sammy Hagar when Sammy Hagar was bashing Eddie, and there's Eddie bashing Eddie Van Halen along with Sammy. That's okay. Paul Stanley of Kiss won't talk to him, so he'll go off on him using tracks, constantly, and David Lee Roth won't talk to him, so he says, crappy stuff and lies. Oh, Van Halen, when I saw the 1984 tour, it was Alex doing 20-minute drum solos and David Lee Roth with a sword doing 20 minutes. All that was a lie. He said they only did like 10 tracks or something. Go punch up Van Halen 1984 at Madison Square Garden and go look at that set list. David Lee Roth was up there with a sword for about a minute. Alex Van Halen's drum solo was no more than 2 minutes. It's all out there. I have a bootleg of the damn show where you can see it. But he doesn't talk about the long-ass bass solo Michael Anthony does, which is not even a bass solo. All he does is do effects and roll around on the floor and throw his bass around. Oh, he won't mention that. You know why? Because Michael will talk to him. So he won't say nothing bad about Michael Anthony. Now, there was a time that he did bash Judas Priest, but he didn't do it in front of Judas Priest. And Judas Priest got pissed at him. Now they won't talk to him no more. That's why I don't ever want to interview anybody famous. I really don't. I don't want to be that popular. I don't want to be like an Eddie Trunk because, honestly, I won't hold anything back. If I had Motley Crue in front of me, I would bash the living shit out of them. I really would. About the tapes, about how they treated Mick Mars, about the bullshit, farewell tour. Nope. Eddie doesn't bring none of that up. Mr. I tell it as it is. Man, listening to that interview, it really did make me queasy how much of a fraud this dude is. He's a total fraud. Now, I have met Eddie Trunk once, and he was very nice to me. I'm not, he seemed like a nice guy when I met him. But seriously, his whole thing on backing tracks and and farewell tours, all that shit, when he talks crap about all that shit, when he says he has no filter and he tells it as it is, he is as fake as the backing tracks. Now, he's the guy I would love to interview. I would love to bring up so much stuff that he's afraid to bring up, like the million lies that Sammy Hagar does. He's one of those people waving the flag that Sammy is a great guy. He's a nice guy. I'd love to say to Eddie Trunk, why won't you bring up all the lies that Sammy Hagar says? Why is it? Because he talks to you? Why don't you just man up, you know, and tell Sammy Hagar what a bullshit artist he is? No, he won't, because he's a Hagar defender that when it comes to lies that Sammy Hagar says, he just lets it slip by. He doesn't want to, you know, he doesn't want to rock the boat, you know, unlike when he says, I have no filter and I tell it as it is. He's a phony. I would love to interview Eddie Trunk. Love to. And let me tell you something. It was like maybe 2 years ago. I did attempt to. You know, when I just got fed up of his Sammy defending, I was like, I need to interview this guy. But no, he refuses to. So, yeah, you know, and there's this stuff I do agree with him. I hate Scab Kiss, you know, and there's a lot of stuff that he says that makes sense. But would he really talk bad about Scab Kiss if Paul was still talking to him? I mean, Paul stopped talking to him because of him going off on Scab Kiss, but there's no way Eddie Trunk thought, oh, if I bring up Scab Kiss, Paul's not going to talk to me anymore. He never thought that, not for a freaking second, or else he would have never brought up Scab Kiss. Is there anybody out there that knows Eddie Trunk that would be cool enough to set up an interview with me and him? I would love to. You see, I'd love to interview Motley Crue. My favorite would be Sammy Hagar. I don't think there's anybody I would want to interview more than Sammy Hagar. That would be a historic interview, to see him squirm and bring up all these lies and try to defend himself while I'm throwing truth bombs at him. Screw Sammy Hagar, screw Eddie Trunk, screw Motley Crue, screw all that shit. And I've said this before a million times. What the hell is wrong with admitting you use backing tracks? There's nothing wrong with that, because the people don't care. They don't care. They'll still go see you if they know you're using backing tracks. Case in point, look at Kiss. Kiss was still filling arenas. Motley Crue is known for using tapes. Motley Crue is known for Vince Neil butchering the whole song and so on. Oh, and also another thing was Eddie Trunk also said, I saw this in an interview not too long ago, him bashing Vince. Oh, Vince was never a good singer live. He never was. People are bitching about Vince now. Vince is not a good singer. He's just a good, you know, he's good in the studio, but he's a performer like David Lee Roth. They were never good singers, blah, blah, blah. Yep. He didn't bring that up in the interview. Hey, Vince. Of course he wouldn't do that. That's why I can't interview, you know, these people. I mean, I'd love to, but all these bands, they pride on getting Fluff interviews. Nobody's going to challenge Sammy Hagar, Motley Crue, or Paul Stanley of Kiss in interviews. They lather their ass because they want Paul Stanley and Motley Crue and all these people to come back on their show. Because, you know, you bring in star power, you get a lot of views, you know. I don't care, man. If I can get it, great. But I don't want to now. I really don't, because who the hell would want to talk to a guy that would expose you for the phony you are? There's nobody out there that would want that. I would love to do that. I'd be the greatest interviewer ever if anybody had the balls to face me with all your bullshit. It's just too bad, because, you know, I'm with him when it comes to backing tracks and farewell tours that are bullshit and Scab Kiss. 100% with him, but you know, he just talks crap about people that won't talk to him. You got Motley Crue, I mean, the band that everybody's pointing at. Tapes, they're horrible, they're using tapes. And you don't bring that up. And it's not, and the thing that kills me about this thing, and I said it before, people will still go to go see a band playing with tapes. I wouldn't, but I don't matter. I'm not the casual that will go. So you're not going to hurt ticket sales by telling them, you know, about tapes. I mean, I would love to hear Motley Crue talk about why they use tapes and, you know, without saying the truth. We use tapes because we suck live. Anyway, that's it for the only news that matters. I want to thank you all for watching. And please leave your comments below what you feel about this Hypocrite, Eddie Trunk, and Motley Crue with backing tracks. And come on, man. I know there's people, cool people watching me right now that don't mind backing tracks and that will go see a show of backing tracks. You all are cool with me. Leave your reasons below. I may not agree with it, but I totally respect anybody that would go see it. Anyway, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't and ring that little notification bell. And like the video because it's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty, listen to Black Sabbath, and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.